Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening. Thank you so much for being here and joining me for another exciting session of In the Studio with Daz 3D. It is wonderful to see you all. Mr. David Summers, JD Interactive Outland Station, the Nancy is here. There's also the Dragonade, one of my moderators, Mr. Brian and Julia here. Thank you so much for doing this with me. X201 is here. Danny is here. IMG's in the house. Your name is just like a company that I used to work for in a past life. Keith is here. Swords for Two, the PBS Publication Network is here. How exciting. That is very cool. And Felipe is here. Good to see you. And anyone out there, Baracas and Jeff, for example, anyone out there who's not in the chat's totally fine. I'm just so excited to see you all. Today we're going to build a little bit of a Valentine's portrait, but you know, it's also very much like a chilled out session. Hope you can hear me. Hope you can see me. Hope the connection's okay. Hello, Danny. Good to see you too. This is also a great place to ask questions that haven't been answered before, anything that you always wanted to know while you're here, and if I have the time I can always answer you. If there's any burning questions, please drop them in the chat, and if I don't spot them live, my moderators will fish them out and put them onto a little special channel that we have on our Discord server. Wonderful to see you. Before we begin, I wanted to show you something that I thought was just genuinely super, super impressive, and that was this. This is something I found recently on the Daz PA server that is basically only for, for producers of content getting together and asking, pertinent questions. And we all looked at this and we thought, is this a render or is this a photograph? And it turns out this is actually a render made in Daz Studio, and it was just so well done that I had to kind of look 2 or 3 times. You think, is this is not a snapshot of a Freddie Mercury concert in like 1983 or something like that? No, this is actually a render by the very, very talented Protozoon PA on the Daz store. And they make musical instruments as well as poses for those things. This is a new set they're working on, and this is one of the promo images. And I thought I'd show you this because this is just so cool. Brian, this is the gallery image that I've shown you, and I thought this was just so awesome and super impressive. And it's just so when you see something like that, when you look closely, you probably will see it's a render, but if you don't, and if you don't know how to make it, that is really cool. I have got to say, this is amazing, right? I think so too. And what really brings this to life is when your brain can't look at a picture and you go, oh yeah, that's a dead giveaway for a 3D render. If you avoid those things, that is just awesome. So like, fingers not intersecting with one another, for example, the cable not being absolutely super straight, a little bit of shine on the skin, hair propping out from here and from here. This is very natural. Clothing fitting properly. Anything like poke through, or also clothing being too far away from the figure, dead giveaway. And then of course we have this wonderful overbite here, which is totally gives away this has got to be Freddy. It is actually, I think Protozoon was saying that in a description there. I'd love to speak more about how you made this render, just out of curiosity. There's a little overbite that he's made in hexagon, so that's something kind of cool. But beautiful work, I've got to say. Wonderful to see such amazing artwork coming out of Daz Studio. Yes, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. So give it a like. This is on the Daz gallery. Brian's just posted the link. Give it a like and make it float to the very top. I just think stuff like that really deserves a mention. So thank you so much for sharing that. We're going to be doing something equally exciting. We're going to be doing something like this here. This is a Valentine's promo image that I've made with the wonderful Angela. And I thought, since it's Valentine's Day next week, get your presents, everyone. Since it's Valentine's Day next week, I thought we can go and make something along those lines. So it's a very simple image. I can show you exactly how to construct this. There's only the couple in the front, and I've made these heart-shaped balloons here in Marvelous Designer, and we can do this from scratch. I was thinking maybe we can do some more things like, write out the word love or something like that. It's a couple's pose from the wonderful 3D Sugar that I want to use. So we're going to do something with 2 characters, a man and a woman, and Angela's going to be one of them, and one of our male heroes, like either Michael or Ivar, is going to be standing in. This is Ivar here. He's got the buzz cut going on here, and this is also not just dial in the poses, put the clothing on, and off you go. There's a lot of small adjustments here, like the necklace. Make sure the necklace is fitted correctly. Make sure all these fingers do not intersect or leave too much room here. So we're going to do something like that. And then there's there's a HDRI lighting that gives us a bit of a base, but then there's also another light from the back that separates her here from the background and fills in this. So because it is about her, it's not about him really. Sorry, Ivar, one of those things. And then last but not least, there's a little bit of a particle effect in here so that breaks up the atmosphere. I did some adjustments in ZBrush, so we'll see if we want to do that. The hair needs some adjustment, and the necklace and all that, that I've adjusted that in ZBrush, and these are how I've made the little heart-shaped balloon. So they just come out of Marvelous Designer. They've got internal pressure, and then we're exporting them as an OBJ, set up a very, very simple metallic shader, and then we combine all this, and this is what it looks like in Daz Studio. But the cool thing is, since this is and this is our stream, since this is an interactive happening, my friends, we're going to go and do this all together. So while we're going to focus on Angela as our main heroine, she's from the Angela Mega Bundle, by the way. There's some really cool items in there that I'm going to use. Well, Angela, for one, I'm not sure about the hair. We might use this. We might use something else, maybe the one from the Josie Pro Bundle. But there's some really cool bits and pieces in here, like the Angela makeup. I think I'm going to use that. This is the hair. hair that comes with it, the Hollywood hair. So we'll see what that looks like. And you get to vote on which outfit we're going to use for that. I was thinking this is the Delilah dress. Do we have a promo of that? Yes, this is it. So this is exactly the one I've used with the Delilah necklace. I thought that's kind of cool. And it also comes with earrings, so we can use that. That's one possibility. But also we have stuff from the Josie 9 mega bundle. That is also something we can use specifically. So this was released a couple of weeks ago, I think. Specifically, we can use the Pussycat outfit here. That is something I thought is another option. So I'll let you vote on this in a moment. It's the Pussycat outfit. We had the Delilah dress, Pussycat outfit. Possible. Is she wearing that for a dance or something? I'll show you the poses before you make a decision here, so we can use this as well. Then there's also the animal print jumpsuit. That is also something we can use for the portrait. It's kind of, you know, one of those things that you probably want to try out and see if it's going to work with the theme. So we've got a few different shades of the jumpsuit here, and we also have cat ears. We're not you know, we don't have to use them. And there's also the cat suit. It's another possibility. So it's a lot of, you know, this is more like teeny outfits. I'm kind of more into the dress. That's the direction that I'm leaning, but I wanted to give you the choice. Angela and Josie mix really well. X201 perhaps will do that. Perhaps we're not going to use Angela 100%. We're going to use 50% of Josie and 50% of Angela. Let me see if I have Josie installed, actually. Do I? I might not have, but, you know, Josie 9. There we go. Let's go and put you into characters. Okay. First vote done. The other thing with anything that involves two people here is often that it's easier to start from something that already has. Thank you, Julia. Thank you for the poll. I like it. The other thing that you want to consider, I suppose, with stuff like couples things is poses. So you can create all this from scratch, but it's often much easier if you go ahead and start with something that's already 90% there, and then just make fine-tuning tweaks, like, you know, figure height and all that. Also depends on, do you show the figures in their entirety? So do the feet need to match with the hands? Or if you have one character that's a bit larger, you can just put them down and let their feet intersect with the floor, because if you're not framing up the floor, who cares? It's good. So I was going to say, let's go and pick a pose or two poses from the wonderful 3D Sugar sets here. This is one that comes with the Josie bundle, I believe. Let's Dance pose set. So there's a lot of stuff that we can use here, like we can frame up this upper part here, and then perhaps write the word love up here in foil letters and kind of cut the bottom bit off and maybe make this a heart, for example. Or we can use this, we can use this. There's a ton of stuff that just gets you inspired, and I'll show you how to set these things up. This is it's just beautiful to work with poses that are so well designed to go together with two characters. So that's one of them. That's the Let's Dance pose set, and we're just going to try a few out on the gray characters, and we'll see which ones we want to use. And we'll try out some different camera framings. This is also nice here. Could put write the word love in the middle. That's cool. But then, you know, if you ever wanted to frame this up separately, like if you think about it, maybe you want a social version that works as a square, and then you want one that's landscape and one that's portrait, then this might not be the best pose set. This might not be the best pose for that. This one would be nice. There's also My Everything couples poses. This is also something I'm considering. Yeah, check out 3D Sugar. Very, very cool pose sets, especially for couples. There's I think a set of 3 different ones that's called Lookbook for 2. That is really, really good for promo images, especially if you want to show more than one character. Yeah, so also a lot of good stuff in here. We'll see which one we want to use. This might be nice here. This might be nice. I'm thinking this one already, and then just write the word love here and some heart-shaped balloons in the background. I can see this working well. That's kind of cool already, I'm thinking. What do you think? I think we can find something here. Right? Interacting pose sets are really, really cool. So far, the poll ahead in the ratings is indeed the Delilah dress. I think that is a good evening dress for Valentine's Day. So that's settled then. Very cool. Let's get to work. And is this all? Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Let's get to work and see how we can put these two poses in, and we'll see how it goes from there. How is everyone doing today? You got any plans for Valentine's Day? I bought myself a new coffee machine, by the way. This is the kind of the second day that I'm drinking coffee from it. So, whoops. This is... My trackball keeps slipping off. Good coffee though. My trackball keeps slipping off my my leg. Hey, before actually, let me show you something else. I've just written an article about this. Do you know about the log file in Daz Studio, right? Just in case you don't, if ever you want to find out what Daz Studio is saying under the hood, you can head over to Help, Troubleshooting, and then there's View Log File. And when you do that, a text editor for your operating system opens up that has a lot of text output, and much of it is probably not relevant, but the most bottom messages here, that's the most recent stuff. So there's a way that you can clear this out as well with a script, but this is basically what's just happened. The viewport redraw unlocked. So if you go and do something like literally anything, if I go and load in a figure, like let's just say the def load here, then Daz Studio will also generate log messages, but we can't really see what's happened there unless we head over once again to Help, Troubleshooting, and then View Log File again. Then once again scroll to the bottom here, and then we'll see some other bits and pieces have happened. But there is a way that you can display this as a live log output. Let me show you how that works. If I go and just open this up here, that is a little PowerShell shortcut in Windows. If I go and left click and drag that to this side, just to show you this, and then on the other side I'm going to have Daz Studio. Maybe I'll go and delete Genesis out of here and just load them again, and watch what happens on the right hand side. It's like makes you feel like a proper hacker. You double click and you can see the live log output on a different screen. If you're ever interested in that, I've just written a little article on how to do this. This is thanks to one of my supporters who brought this to my attention. Xenex, thank you so much for doing that. So you find the code of how to do that in there for both Windows and Mac OS. If ever you needed that, it's kind of cool to see what Daz Studio does under the hood. There we go, Brian. It's one of the, I think it's the latest article on my website. If you can fish that out and post that, that'd be good. I'm going to make a video about this as well, how to set this up. But that's not quite ready yet. So there we go. It's good, isn't it, Jeff? I thought so too. Let me go and make this literally one Genesis figure. And I'm just going to go and move this person over here. And let's call this, this is basically the woman here. And then I'm going to load another Genesis figure in, and I'm going to get this little dialog here. I'm going to show you how to set this up as well. It kind of depends how you want Daz Studio to handle this. If you load another figure of the same generation in with the character selected, would you like to load in a new figure, or would you like to apply this character to the currently selected figure, so that if you're working with the gray characters and you want to apply like a figure with skin, you could literally transform this character. I'm going to load a new figure, so that's what I want to do, and I want you to keep this selection. I also want you to keep asking every time, because I might change my mind. And then we have a second Genesis figure here. There we go. I could have also duplicated that. That's also cool. I'm going to call this one the man for now, before we decide on characters. And just to tell them apart while we dial in the poses here, let me go and just give that a different color here. So the man is, say, blue. No, maybe not that blue. Maybe something like that blue. And then the woman, maybe actually that was nicer when it was lighter, but also less saturated. We just need a hint here, like that. And then woman, we'll make her a little bit pink and also less saturated, like this. There. So now we can see who's going to be who, and I can go and set the base configurations here as well, just so that we can visualize the poses a little bit better. So this one is the base. Nope, that's not it. Base female. That's that. And then man, same thing. That's the base masculine. I'm glad we have so much clothing choices for women already, whereas, you know, for a man it's going to be either jeans and t-shirt or Viking outfit. Those are the only choices we have. Good to know, Patrick. Good to see you also. So let's have a look at these pose sets here. They are, of course, under poses. If I go and filter this down, And I'll say this one here, My Everything couple poses. And these are the Let's Dance poses. Let's try the My Everything couple poses first of all. So the way this works is if you're in smart content, you have the collection of everything, but that might not be what you want to see. So there's a lot of expressions here, male and female mixed together. If you open that up and head over to by function, then you'll see all the poses by function. So interacting is the category where all the poses are in, and then expressions is a different category. And then there's another subcategory which is full face, and if you wanted to filter these more, then you can go and see what they're called and then just filter them by that. But interacting is what we want. So the way they are sorted is that you see kind of the same thumbnail on the first two, and this is the same. This is kind of the pose set, once for the man, once for the woman, once for the left character, once for the other character. So it's like left and a right character, or the one character and the other. You can of course use them on the same gender figures as well. So I'm going to go and apply this one to the man, and then this one to our woman, and then they should fit together. And if they don't, well, then, you know, obviously we have a problem. Looks like that didn't work. Probably because I've moved one Genesis into a different position, and that's probably the guy. So some poses are saved with the translation. Some poses are not. Oh, it's this one here. X translate on that. So that is what I've moved, so that they're not appearing in the same place. And then that is the pose for both of them together. So I don't know if the man was supposed to be behind her. If we don't want to do that, we can change this around. So I can go and apply this to that, and then they're all both in the same place, and then put the woman behind. So that is also possible. And that is a wonderful starting point. So it looks like, yeah, it was supposed to be the woman in the front. So if you then have any fingers intersecting in the body, that's going to happen no matter what, because your custom characters are probably going to have different dimensions than or different kind of, you know, different body shapes than the base characters. And then you deal with clothing as well. So those are adjustments that you're always going to have to make. There's really no pose set that works like 100% out of the box with dressed characters. So there's always little adjustments that we have to make. Okay, so that's this one here. Let's see if we have the second one. Will be these two poses here. Let's try that out. This one on the guy, this one on our girl. That's great. I love having something that is more or less there. So this is just such a time saver if you start with something like that. This is very, very cool. Let's have the next two here. This one on the guy. This one on the girl. Holding hands, very nice. Also notice it's not just the pose, it's also the expression that's being dialed in there, and that you can of course override and stuff. And so the faces are very close, so it's going to be tricky to light this, but you know, I'll leave that up to your capable little hands. Let's have a look at these ones here. This one and that. That is also a very, very cool pose. I love it. Very nice. And then so the way I like doing this is I kind of dial these things up, and then I think about what would be a good position to dial this up from. Like what would be a good framing for this. Let's try to have a look at these ones here. This and that. Do we want to see this from the back? That looks cool, but it's also going to look really cool from the front. So yeah, very nice. I like it. 3D Sugar, everyone. There's so many exciting poses on the Daz store, and it's just, you know, poses. There's actually a video that I've just, I think, edited. I don't think it's quite on the channel yet, but I've edited one and showed you how to apply symmetry to these poses as well. That can be done if you think, hey, I like the poses in principle, but I'd like for both of them to kind of face the other way. Some pose sets, they include that. I don't actually like that when that happens, even though it looks like a lot of variety in there. It also makes it very confusing. So I prefer to use a tool like this that I've got up here. That's the Scene Tools Set 3 from 3D Universe. So with that, you can basically just mirror the poses like just with one icon. Click on that, and then the whole figure turns the other way, like so, and then you've got the mirror image, so there's no trickery going on, and it allows you to do other things as well. If you have an arm pose that you just like to have on the other side, then that tool can do that as well. I'm going to go and turn these around again because that was the original intention, like that. Let's have another look at these last two here. So this one on the guy, and then this one on the woman. Very nice. And then once again, this one on the guy, and then this one on the girl. Or maybe it's the other way around. I think it's the other way around in the picture. It's fine, it's fine. So these are very kind of, close and cuddly, and they are, I gotta be brutally honest, they are difficult to light. If you look at the faces here, it's going to be tricky to make both their expressions come out. So I was thinking to get something slightly wider. Let's take a look at the other pose set that I wanted to try out, the Let's Dance pose set here. Once again, first of all, I'll drill down here to by function, and then I'll see all the couples poses here. And the first one's already cool, but I think there was one that particularly spoke to me. But I haven't tried these out yet, so let's see. I've literally just installed them. Whoops, that's correct, isn't it? Woman here, man is on that side. Just looking at the thumbnail here. There we go. Nice. Tango. That would already work really well if you have something like like have a Dutch angle, something like this. And then if you had something wide and you had the word love written up here, that would be good. Hey, Biscuits, how's it going? Yes, don't drop her. Very important, very important. That's right, Digital Face, exactly. And that is something that you need to correct when it comes to the custom characters. I think in this case, there's 4 of them that look very similar here. What's that all about? That I don't actually know. Oh, I see. So they swapped them around. Maybe is that how it goes? No, it wasn't. This one was her, and this one was him. That is pretty much the same one. What's the difference there? Oh, I see. These two, this is how that's done. This is for the literally the base characters, and this was for female and male. Okay, so we're going to go and ignore the B ones here and try this one. This is for the female. And then M is for the male. Like so, very nice. That'll also work. If ever you do this and you go and screw something up beyond recognition, and you go, yeah, I've got kind of, I've got a problematic viewport, and things look like that, and I can't really get back. That happens to us all. You can click this little arrow up icon, and then that resets your viewport displays, just in case that ever happens. Biscuits and Patrick, that's really cool that you guys are both in the chat. This is really cool. I like that you're both from Holland, from the Netherlands. I like it. I like it. Sorry that I keep saying Holland. It's one of those things. I grew up with it. It's difficult for me to rethink that. What else here? This is for the base. This is for female and male. So this is for the male, and then this one's for the woman. Sometimes this is the hardest part, finding the correct poses to begin with. That is nice. That would be a nice Valentine's portrait as well. This one's for the female, this one's for the male. Also nice. So the moment we go and dial up the custom characters, we're going to have to go and make some adjustments there. I hope we can do that. These were also good. I forgot which ones I liked, where we could kind of write the word in there. Let's see if I can find those. That was in here, wasn't it? In the Let's Dance poses. See if I can find that one, then we can get started with the scene. Do you remember which one that was? I don't recall. I kind of like the tango pose here. But I also like this one here. That's also nice with the word love in here. We just tilt that to the left a little. Yeah, that one, right? Let's try that one. Yes, and you too, WebSoul. Absolutely. The number is certainly going up. The Dutch rule. Absolutely. I'm half Dutch, actually. Hence the last name. Hence Vers Lewis. Let's do that. Let's stick with the first pose then that we see here, like this one. And we're going to go for this one for the man and this one for the woman, like so. And then we're going to go and have something along the lines of, so Dutch angles, you do that with the control and then the right click on this icon here. So if you just if you left click on it, you just rotate, but control and then right click, that banks your camera. So I'm thinking something like that maybe. And then I can see, maybe this is a bit too much, so it's easy to go overboard with that, so just a little bit. And then I'm thinking we can have two cameras, one that'll be like landscape, like this here, and then we can have one that'll also work as a square with a little bit of negative space down here, and then we can have one as a portrait as well. Let me go and set those up that I don't forget, and then we can go and tweak them a little bit later. So new camera, copy from viewport, like this. I go into the camera, just go and show the aspect frame, is set to square. So I'll go and call this one camera landscape. And then I'm going to go over to the parameter settings and go to my dimensions here. I'm going to use local dimensions, and I'll use just a 16:9 here, like this. And then I'll go start setting this up. I probably want this to be, let's say 120 millimeters. And we'll have these guys a little wider. So I can see now that that I have, when I've got the aspect ratio here, I think this is a bit too Dutch almost. So let's try 200, so that we get more of our characters, but also a lot of the background here. So we can fill this like with hearts and particles and maybe a room for a logo here. So yeah, I'm going to go and do this, something like that. Or if you wanted the word love to be the hero of the image, you might put that here. I think I might do something like this. So that's our first camera sorted. Then the second one is essentially like a portrait version of this. So I can just go and duplicate that. Or just create another camera out of this from the active viewport camera here, accept, and then I'll switch to that, also rename it, and I'll call this one camera portrait. And then this one will also have the local dimensions, but in this case I'm going to call it or I can just use the regular render dimensions for that. So I can either switch it to something like this here, or I can use the 1000 by 1300 type aspect ratio, and then maybe make that 2000 like this one. And then we see those a little bit closer, and then without the letters, and that just kind of just focuses on the couple here, something like that. We'll see how it goes when all the bits and pieces are in place. Let's go save it as well, new for 2013. I'll go and make maybe a new subfolder here under demos, and I'll call it Valentine's stream, so that we know everything else that we're going to be creating can go in here. Base scene V1, perfect. Cupid particles, that's right. Mark your calendars, exactly. What is it today? What is it today, Brian? It is the 11th of February, 2023. Awesome stuff. I'll go and leave my cameras well alone. I'm going to switch back into this, and I suppose now we can go. I'm going to go and switch the cameras to invisible, so that I don't see these markings there until I'm ready to get going there. Let's see what were to happen if we go and dial in our heroes. So I could just apply a hero character, or what I'd like to do at this stage is just play with something that could become a completely custom character. So for my guy here, maybe since we're in a mixing mood, we can go and mix maybe Michael and Ivar together, and we'll see what that has, an effect that has on his proportions. So on the, and I'm going to do that for the faces as well. They're just going to be, you know, whatever comes out really. That is like Ivar. If I go dial up Ivar, then, you know, you can see that his proportions change a little bit. Ivar, and then this is Michael here. Oh, they're both very muscly. I like it. So maybe we're going to go and give it like 50% of Michael and then 50% of Ivar. I've also got base masculine on still, so I'm going to go and dial that out. 50% Ivar. Oops, sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to do that. Is that cool, or do we just want Ivar and no Michael? I'm kind of thinking a little bit of Michael in here would be like Michael and Ivar 100% together. Yeah, baby. This could be problematic with the HD details, actually. If we go and have a look at the amount of distortions we see, that might just be a little bit too much in the render. So I'm thinking we can preview this under general resolution if we set our sub D level here to 3 and then hope our computer doesn't crash. Never go full Ivar. No, I know. And then full Ivar and full Michael. That's just not good. Well, that's what they would look like. So not bad, but still, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend mixing two characters together with 100%. That just sometimes that just has adverse effects. So yeah, I'd like a 30-70 type thing maybe. Like 70 Ivar and maybe 30 Michael. 1500%, yes. We could do that. Actually, I did kind of like it. More Michael, you know. 1500% Ivar, you think. Let's see what that looks like. No limits. It's unlimited. Oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. There seems to be like a soft limit in there, so 1500% Ivar. I'll use limits. So 100 Ivar, 50 Michael. That already looks pretty cool. So let's go do the same with our woman. Obviously, don't dial Ivar in there, but you know, dial the other person that we wanted. So dial the base female out. And this was Angela. This was the original idea. They actually work fairly well together without that many adjustments already. So that's good to know. So that's Angela. And then which other one did we say? Not Pixie. It was Josie. There we go, Josie. So these proportions are very different. So you can see that her hips are much slimmer and you'd have to do a lot of adjustment on his hand there. But that's cool. We can do that. So I'm thinking maybe not 100% Josie. Maybe we'll try like kind of 40% Josie and then say 80% Angela. Is that cool? Or just Angela, really? Oop, there we go. What happened there? I didn't mean to switch that to iRay. Thanks for the offer, though. I'm thinking just Angela, really. Gives us a little bit less work. I mean, there's still work that we need to do, but I think maybe that's cool. What do you think? We should double it. 3000%, Nate. Oh, really? That is cool. Have I got Nikolai? I'm not sure if I have him. He's not installed. That does sound interesting. I'm going to go leave these guys like this, and we'll see what we'll start with. We'll get these guys dressed, and then see where we go from there. Let's go save it, in fact, and go and use the Delilah dress. I think we are all in favor of that. I think the majority said Delilah dress rather than the animal cat suit or the pussycat suit. I think that was the second one. But let's go with the Delilah dress. I like it. It comes for Genesis 8 and 9. Let's go and do that. there it is. So that's a D-Force dress. So we'll have to work on that if we want to frame it up as that. This is probably one of those poses in which we can get away with not draping it from the A-pose and just letting it drape out as it is. So we'll see what that, how that's gonna work. For our guy, I don't actually have that many outfits for the male guy, unless we also want to give him a dress. We have like Viking warrior outfits, wolf skin and armors and stuff. I'm not sure if you would wear that to Valentine's. There's also, I think, some basic wear. Well, that's just shorts and t-shirts, so we can't have that. Maybe then the business casual is the one that we're going to give him, perhaps, as a full dress with shoes. You could. G8 outfit would work as well, that's true. Catsuit for the man, Ascania, why not? Let's do that. That's not a bad idea. See how this goes. So I'll go and put this on, then we'll do the skin textures, and then I'll see if I can just drape the outfits without them going into the A pose first, because I'm not sure if we're going to need it, but let's see if we can try this. Let's see if we can try this. In fact, let's just use the colors for now. I'll go and make the guy, I'm going to go save it first. I'm going to make the guy completely invisible and just simulate her dress, and we'll see how that goes. And there's no hair in the viewport. Let's do that. So then with her, I've got my simulation properties tab open. I'm going to go and do two changes. The first one is that I'm going to change this here, the collision mesh resolution. It's set to base by default, but that means it'll try to collide the D-Force dress with the base resolution of the character. And really, we're not gonna see that. So just as a little comparison, if I look at her ears here under parameters, so this is with my woman selected, under general, under mesh resolution, I've still got the render sub-D level as 1, but we're going to see the high resolution right now in the viewport. And if I go and set this to base, then you can see that things get a little bit chunkier, and on cloth draping, it sometimes has an effect of what the cloth collides with. So base is a little bit faster, but it also might mean that you see a tiny bit of poke through or a tiny bit of separation, and you don't really want to do that. If you set this to high resolution, then we're viewing sub-D level 1. So that means that on my simulation settings tab here, if I go and set this also to viewport, then D-Force is going to collide with that same thing, and that is what I'm going to try to do. So the other one is I'm going to use current frames to simulate here. I'm going to, that's cool, so I'm going to not use any of the other ones, just current frames fine, and start bones from memorized pose. I'm going to disable that, and this means that Angela, whoops, is gonna stand as she is right now, and we're going to just go and simulate that. And so now that should just settle out D-Force a little bit. So that sometimes that may, this is not going to work because we don't have a floor. I'm going to go put a floor in there so that this has something to collide with. She's also not wearing shoes, I'm just realizing. I've only given her the dress. And that might be enough. If 30 frames is not enough for this, we can give it some more frames, or we can use an animation to simulate the first 30 frames and then let it settle for another 30 or 60 frames. Yeah, that we're going to have to do that again because I totally forgot about the floor. But if we disregard the floor and just look at the dress, I think it'll be enough to drape her from here without the A-pose. Let's go and put a plane in here, clear that. Primitive, and perhaps a plane And we're going to go with Y positive and maybe make that like 5 meters perhaps. Divisions 1 is totally fine. There we go. White, Danny, is never a good color. Let's make it, darker is good. There, much better. Perhaps it's also a little too shiny. I like cranking up the glossy roughness here so that we see, less reflections here. Okay. Let's try that. And I think I'll leave it on 30 and we'll see what that looks like. Oh yeah, she also needs shoes. I forgot about shoes. Let's see if we can give her some shoes. Did the dress come with shoes? No, that was literally just the dress. What do I have that has shoes that aren't Viking shoes? Does it cat shoes? That has boots. That's not good. Okay, let's not worry about shoes. Let's see if we can not frame up the feet. I think that's going to be clever. Let's go and try to simulate that. See what happens. So in an ideal world, the dress should now collide with the floor and not go down. Let's see. Wood panel floor. Let's see if we actually frame up the floor. I'm not sure if we're going to frame it up. I think we had literally just a kind of a mid shot. Pair of Rhiannon boots, also good. They do, don't they, Mickey Mouse? Anita, how you doing? Good to see you. Do you know what? I totally didn't see you last time when we did the Daz Plus stream about rigging. I only saw this on the replay that you had snuck in. I didn't see you, so double hello. Good to see you. Always nice of you to pop by. Let's go and leave it like this. I mean, we don't want to spend forever getting defaults right here, but there is, you could just go, instead of this, you could go and use the animated custom play range and then let the cloth settle out with a few end frames there. I don't think I'm going to do that here. There's also, you can also make adjustments. You just pull the dress out a little bit. I think I'm going to be okay with what we have here. So, bring our guy back, and I think he also had some deforce issues, so I'm going to go and select my girl's dress. Whoops, my girl's dress here. Delilah dress. And then under parameters, because I'm okay with this simulation, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click free simulation because I don't want deforce to get involved with this again, just in case I forget it. So I'm going to go and freeze that here. I'll go and make her completely invisible and just let my man's clothing go and settle down. I don't think it's all that important with him here, but it's just the jacket here. I think that can probably drape a little better. Let's just go and do that. All the settings are still fine the way they are. Quickly save before we go and see what that does. It might also, you might find, hey, it's overkill, I don't need that. Sometimes deforce ruins things that are actually okay. So, it's always worth trying it out. And don't be afraid to do manual adjustments time and time again. Always good to know how to do that. This is kind of what I was after. Let the jacket just settle out a little bit. It's also things like at the top of his collar. This is what deforce really is. It's just great at, to automatically make everything fall down so that it settles down. Because we have more clothing items, it can take a little bit longer. Black jeans are classier. We'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. Leather jeans. Hey, Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris is here. Thank you for dropping by. Good to see you. Chris streams tonight on his own Twitch channel for a Saturday night social session. If you're not following Chris, I highly recommend you do. Chris makes his own outfits as well as props in Blender and then brings them over into Daz Studio. Always nice to exchange bits of knowledge and things we neither of us knew. It's always good to do that. Come on, buddy. I'll see if there's any questions, shall I, while we wait for deforce? If there is anything that I can just, answer in passing. Why did I turn one of the ladies blue? Interesting. Okay, Venka. I got my hair on Genesis 8 and 9 yesterday, and there's no simulation, and I've tried everything and even watched YouTube recommended tutorials, but I only found it on clothes. Could you ever please do a hair simulation tutorial on G9 by this product? Only works with DeForce Cloth Engine. I can do that. I'll make a note of that, Venka. Thank you so much for the suggestion. DeForce being a simulation engine, it can be used on hair, and some hairs have DeForce simulation enabled, like the Biscuit's hair has DeForce simulation. It's more difficult with hair because it often has more topology than clothing, so it'll take a long while to render, or to run, not render, to simulate, but the results can be quite fantastic. So people like Biscuits have done things that they've come up with exciting little helper tools that will prevent the hair from getting kind of caught up in noses and eyelashes and stuff, called the repelling volume, so that basically the hair kind of collides with an invisible volume that's in front of the face, and that works quite well. We can still do adjustments on the jacket, like make it waft out. I'll make a note of it, and we'll see if we can do a tutorial on it. You said classy black jeans. Let me do that. I always like questions like this because, you know, that's what we're here for. Jeans. Do we have a material for that? Okay, we do. Look at that. That could be classy. There's also jet color. Maybe jet. How's that? Maybe jet instead of black. That was a great suggestion. Thank you so much. Oh, that was at the beginning, Yolantis. That was at the beginning. It's under, with your character selected, that's under parameters here. And then you head over to actor. And under actor, you find people. And then in people, that's where the people sliders are. You also find the heads under the head section. And you find the bodies under the full body section. So you can usually dial those in and out independently from one another. Have a look at that, and then you'll find them. Let's bring our lady back, and if we're happy with the clothing adjustment, let's go. And her dress will be different color. I think that'll probably be gold, but we do have different choices. So let's have a look at some basic lighting, and then we'll decide on hair, and then we'll see where we go from that. Let's go and look for lighting. What does it look like now? Just with just the regular Daz Studio lighting. And then we can talk about skin and makeup and all that. Was this supposed to have happened with her dress down here? I think the materials are a little bit a little bit off. Or maybe that is actually what the dress is supposed to look like. I would imagine it's just gold to the very bottom. Oh, I have to look into that. See what happens when we reset DeForce. I don't recall. What does it look like in the promo? Oh no, it does actually go dark on the bottom here. Maybe that would benefit from a little weight map painting. That is something we can do that maybe in the next Daz Plus stream. We were going to talk about weight maps and how to set up your own and how to adjust things. That is a great idea. Let's do that. If you're not a Daz Plus member, think about becoming one. So these things in DeForce, they can endlessly be adjusted. It's not just one button that you click. You can really go to town with your weight brush tool and make sure DeForce only adjusts the bits and pieces that you want it to adjust. So I can show you how to do that, but that's a great topic for a Daz Plus stream. So it's going to be in 2 weeks on a Saturday for Daz Plus members. Let's do that. I think there was another question I had last time about if you had an item of armor and that would kind of bend as if it was cloth. You can tell DeForce not to bend that, or you can tell Daz Studio not to bend that regardless if it has DeForce or not. That's the topic for a good next Daz Plus stream. For now, let's ignore it and pretend it's okay. I'll see if we can fix it at the end once we got through this here. Let's go with, not with hair, with lights. And let's have a look at maybe the Click and Render Pastel Edition by Cake One. Let's see if there's anything with a pink background in there. That's just to get an impression while you work. So the background as well as the floor, I'm probably gonna replace in the post. So don't worry about the exact color of pink. We can replace that. I think it might be a little strong. This would be half. I'm just thinking, does this work well together with a pink background? Can we see everything? So it's, if I judge by the shadows we see, it's very flat and comes from the front. So if you wanted to add a little bit of drama to it, you can just go and either try a different light set or just try to turn the environment dome around. Like this one is almost the same, but the light kind of more comes from the left hand side. So we get a little bit of a shadow and you get to see the contours of your people. So I'm thinking this is probably a nicer choice. There's also other bits and pieces here at the bottom. Also a nice effect. So now we get the light from the right here. We're casting this nice shadow here. That's also interesting. It's just a just a little feel that you get for what mood you want to go for. If it's too strong, that's easily changeable. I could try to see what happens if we turn the sky dome a little bit further to the right so that we have a little bit more shadow on the side here, on their side, so we see the profiles of their faces. So a little too strong. Let's try 0.5. That might be a bit too weak. Kind of 0.7 perhaps in intensity. And then dome orientation. Let's go and try kind of 20 degrees. So that was the wrong way around. So let's go minus 20 then. Something like that. 25. Something like that. So we have this kind of this nice little moody shadow here. And then we'll go and illuminate this with a light from the back, and that gives us this light rim that we're going to see later here. I think this is the mood I like to go with. And then we can make this darker as well. That's no problem. But I think this is where I'd like to go with that. Disregard the background color. We can just go and put our own color there later. But I think that's why I want to go with that. Is that cool? Hey Camilla, how's it going? Good to see you. So let's go and save it then and see what this looks like with the skin tones, because the lighting adjustments, you don't really want to make those with just the colors here. So the guy, I think I want to use, what do you think? Should we use the Michael skins or the Ivar skins? For the lady, I'm going to use Angela, but for the guy, please let me know what you think. Do we want Michael or do we want Ivar skin? Angela, here she is. Angela or Matt, there we go. While I pour myself another cup of coffee from that new coffee machine. So far it's working well. It's got a brew later function, which is one of those things that when sometimes I forget to, or I get rushed when I'm about to start streaming, and then the coffee needs to be put on and everything. So I'm thinking it's kind of cool if I in the morning say, hey, half an hour before the stream goes off, go automatically make coffee at that point, and it works really well. See, Angela has a very dark complexion. Thank you, Julia. I like it. Angela has a darker complexion, so our light adjustment, our light intensity adjustment was not doing this justice. So I'm glad we're still thinking about that. I'm going to show you both versions so then you can make a better educated decision here. So definitely Angela. So this is what Michael would look like. Michael's materials, unless he's with the Blue Man Group, also possible. Also very possible. Oh, 63% are for Ivar so far. Okay, let's have a look at both and we'll see what that looks like. Yes. Okay, Michael. Michael has a bit of a darker complexion too, so let me go and adjust the lighting here. Whoops. I'll go back to 1. And we can increase this as well in the post, so that's also no problem. That's my man Michael. And then let's go try Ivar. Ivar. I don't know why he doesn't have any icons. Sometimes my computer does that. Like Marvelous Designer that we're going to talk about in a moment. Marvelous Designer 12. That's where the icon is supposed to be. It was here this morning. I swear, it just went away. 11 still has it. 10 still has it. 12 doesn't have it anymore. Mysteriously disappeared. And see, now that I see them side by side, it's a good case to make for Michael, actually, but I can also see the appeal of Ivar, so I don't know. I'm okay with either of them, really. What do you guys prefer? So far, 61% prefer Ivar. Ivar it is. Thank you so much for voting. I appreciate that. Ryukin, how you doing? And Nancy's back. Very, very cool. The Blue Man Group, yeah, exactly. The Blue Man Ballet. Okay, Ivar wins. This is Ivar then. While we're talking about lighting, let me go and set up that backlighting that gives these guys a little bit of a rim from the back. I'll go and switch to filament again for that, just so that it's a bit easier for us to deal with that. I'm going to do this, if you imagine where the camera is, the camera's kind of here. I'm going to do that more or less exactly opposite the camera. Maybe not exactly. I mean, I might go, you know, slightly left or right of it, but almost opposite and slightly from the top, so that it kind of shines onto them like this. That's the plan for the light. I might go and do this from here. So create spotlight with the viewport transforms here, like so, and then we can see this is where it's a little bit far away. I could put kind of an empty in the middle of them both as a light helper object. Yeah, I might actually do that. Let me do that. Create a new null object, and I'll call this one light helper. And on my spotlight, I'm going to go and use the constraint property here to point it at that null object, at the light helper. And then the cool thing about this is that I can now go and move the light further in or back, or also up and down, and the light kind of just keeps auto adjusting where it needs to point. Now the light helper isn't at the correct place yet. That needs to be slightly further in the middle of the couple, but it's not going to be rendered. It's just an empty object, just an empty node, and this is kind of where I want that node to be, at their shoulder height. And if you've looked closely, you'll see that that's where the light is now pointing. So that should hopefully give us that little that outline here. And now I can go ahead and literally still move this thing, and it'll always point at this direction. It's really nice visual adjustment. Let's give this guy some properties here that we can actually see it, because by default it's a little bit low. And if you're clever, you would have built all this in advance, and then you can just load in one light set that you use. So right now I don't see anything, so I'll go and open this up here under photometrics. I'm going to crank this up to maybe 50,000, and I'm going to make this natural light 3200, makes it a little bit yellow, and I can see something appearing on his forehead here, but it's not quite enough to give an effect anywhere on her. So I'll go and smuggle in, I might make that just twice as strong. We're kind of getting there. I'll go and move this slightly further over here so that we illuminate this here. You could also use 2 lights, and now I can see something coming up here on her shoulder. It's kind of what I wanted. I might just try it a little bit further up here, so then we catch her hair in a moment as well. There we go. That's it. That's exactly right here. So we see the beginnings of this starting to separate here. The default default light geometry of this thing is a point, which gives very harsh light. So point is something like on area here, point. You might want to change that. I like to try a disk. And if you have three-dimensional objects, you can also use a sphere, but disk is good. And then you can see that not only does it get softer, but also the actual effect gets a little bit wider. And this is now the light geometry that we see here. You can also make that a bit bigger and see what the effect is. That's nice and soft now. 20 is probably good. We probably don't want to see the emitter, so I'll go and switch that off later. But for now, I'll leave it in just so that's a nice reminder that it's actually in there. Let's go and add some hair on our people, and then we'll see what this looks like with adjustments on the hands if we need to make any adjustments there, and then we can work on the props. Okay, so my guy, what hair do we have for my guy? There's the ultimate buzz cut. There's also the Veko University hair. That might work. There's also the Viking fiber hair. That might work. Or that's the James hair. So also, I thought I saw the Marty Main somewhere. I don't think I have it installed. Is that available somewhere? Marty Main is also available, but it's not installed. Hugo Pompadour hair. Let's try these all. That's nice. Let's try Marty. I don't think I've ever tried the Marty Main. And that can go. Do we have a hair? Fine, I'll put it in outfits. That's okay. Let's do that. Marty Main and Hugo Pompadour. There's also the Montreal flip hair. Look at that. Shall we try Veko, Daniel? Let's do that. Also Technomagia, exactly, adjust the spread angle for like a broader target. Indeed, good point. If you needed to have more of the same effect like further away, good point, thank you. Montreal flip hair. Hugo, interesting. Maybe we need to have a poll, Julia. So it's the Hugo Pompadour, Marty Main, Montreal Flip, or Veko University. Dang, so much to take in. Hugo Pompadour, Marty Main, Montreal Flip hair, like these three basically here, but I'm just installing. Or one will be the Veko University here. We're going to just start with that and see what that looks like on my man here. For basically available for Genesis 8 and 9. That's cool. Trent, possible. We'll see how much time we have. So sometimes it kind of depends on what adjustments we have. So Veko is nice, but it essentially covers his face where we would really need to see it. So it'll depend a little bit if we, thank you, I like it. Scene light scale, let's put that to 1, maybe put that to 4,000, there we go. That was just the filament draw options node here. Let's see if we have if there are any adjustments in the Veko hair. So front bangs spread. Bangs back. No, those are the bangs, aren't they? Hair wind, hair flat. So it opens this up a little, but not a lot. So I could go ahead and take ZBrush or Blender and just push that up a little bit, but it might not be the best hair to choose here. So I might go and use a different one, just because it potentially covers his eyes here, and that's kind of what we want to see. It's a good point though that female hair might also work for males and vice versa. Beautiful that we can do this now with Genesis 9. I really enjoy that. Veko is certainly in the lead. I like it. Whoop, it's going off the lead. Interesting. So it's not that bad. But I feel compelled to just make that little adjustment and just, take the hair out. I haven't found an appropriate slider in here. Since it is currently in the lead, I will go and try the Montreal flip next. So I'll just make this invisible and see what the Montreal flip hair looks like. Oops. Accidentally with the tear duct here. It's gonna cause all kinds of problems. Montreal flip hair for Genesis 9. Oh, I like it already. And it really depends on the angle. You're so right. Yes, you're so right. Montreal, no, I like it. See what materials we get with that. I think I like the shader already. That is very cool. Blonde, white, red, brown, gray. Let's try black on this. Sweet. Black is maybe a little bit, it looks too much as if it's from the bottle. Let's see what brown is all about. Brown might work. That would just be, just looking at the skin color, that might just work for him. Like gray, maybe that would match his suit. Also a possibility. Gray would match his suit. That is, although he doesn't look old enough to have gray hair like that. And then there's always red. I think I'm with the brown for now, but we can make final adjustments. There's also slush works. Yeah, that's not for him. That's just, that also looks like it's from the bottle. I don't know. And white is, I don't think white is for him as well. Let's go with brown for now. For everything else, there's always slush works, hair shaders. That should work on here. Let's roll with that. Is that cool? Vecco, I'm overruling the poll. We still have Vecco in the mix. We'll see we'll go with this, and we'll see if we have time at the end. I can just go and make a final small adjustment to Vecco, and then we have that. Let's try to see Vecco with the, thanks Julia, awesome. Let's go and see what Vecco looks like with different shaders on there, just so that we have that. Whoops. Make the poor Vecco hair invisible. And again, what was I thinking? Yeah, brown gets my vote here. Yeah, 60% already has brown. I like it. So this is the Vecco hair again. Let me just go to those shaders. Oh, it looks like it's the same shader. So this is by the same creator, isn't it? Vecco University hair. Do we have that somewhere? Maybe it's with... Just checking who made that hair. There it is. Neftis, okay, fine. I like it. Yeah, brown gets my vote. So we have the same, it's essentially the same shader here. Okay, cool. So we'll keep it with brown. But for now, we'll go with Montreal. And brown got 62% of the votes. That's perfect. Let's see what we can go for Angela's hair. It's also the dress color that we can discuss later. Now, what do we have here in regards to hair? Let me go save it as well. Very important. So there's the Hollywood hair that comes with the Angela bundle. I'm not sure if that's gonna work. Let's go and have a look at it. It's a little much, so it's in this pose it might actually work, but it also might be, too much. But you decide. So we have the Hollywood hair. Then of course we have the Chanel sweet hair. That is from the Josie bundles. It's more like a kind of a teen hairstyle. We always have Voss, but on Angela, I'm not sure if that's going to work also well. And we have a ton of Genesis 8 hair. I didn't give the guys the benefit. Nope. Daz Studio is not responding. Garcia long ponytail. Okay. Do I have it? 3-in-1 ponytail. There's also the short undercut. The shaved hair. That might work well. That might work nice. Let's try that. Sometimes, less is more. And sometimes you really have to just try it out. I'm not entirely sure about the Hollywood hair. I think it's just a bit much. But let's see what the shaved hair, does that work on Genesis 9? That would be kind of cool. I don't know how this is made, if this is a geoshell. It could well be. Yeah, I think it's a geoshell. It's not going to work. Genesis hair, Genesis 8 hair might work. And this is also Afro hair. That is very similar to the Hollywood hair. You can try that. The David Bowie and Iman look. Exactly. Exactly right. The one by Soto. Tell me which one that is. Maybe I have it. Afro hair, come on. This I remember this is very heavy geometry-wise. Oh, no, don't look at it. It's terrible. Hair, short hair. We're going to say short hair. Oh, the big ad. This is the one. I don't know if it's by Soto. Possible. Big Afro hair. David Bowie and Iman look. Jumbo braids, all right. Also textures. There's so many options. There's so many options. This one could be kind of cool. And with, I mean, if it's not quite there in regards to shape, that's fairly easy to just, tweak into the shape that we want. It takes a while. Dang. Oops, indeed, yes. Still working on it. Danny says, can we see a screenshot of your dim library setup? Sure, while this is doing its thing. It's relatively simple. This keeps varying, so this is the stuff that I've added to Install Manager right now. That's a default folder into which most of the stuff goes. Characters, I used that for Genesis 8 characters. I should have been a little bit more specific. So there's kind of a collection of character morphs that goes in here. Then outfits go in here. New project, I don't remember what that is. NFPs was a thing for the NFP thing. Then I did a stream with Corm. I put everything for that particular one in there. Then these are products that we were working on. This is a pre-release stuff. Starter Essentials, that was another product we were working on. And then there's two particular Genesis 9 folders. These were this and that one. I used that during testing when I had the pre-release files. And I do this so that not all of these are mapped in Daz Studio that I'm using, but if ever I wanted to not have a certain folder in there, I could just unmap that from Daz Studio, and for particular projects, add products to a particular folder for that project. And then if I don't need them anymore, I can just unmap it from Daz Studio, and those types of morphs and those types of products, they don't appear in my smart content anymore. That's the way I handle it. But you can be as granular and as, you can have as many folders as you like, or as little folders, as few folders as you like. Just make sure that when you give these things folders, you also map those under the content library here in Daz Studio. Projection Map is still working on it. Do I have other hair shaders that work with this hair? I think I have. Do I have the Slosh Works installed? Slosh Works. They are really good. If you wanted to, they don't even appear anymore. Slosh Works. Nothing. Works perhaps. Come on, buddy. I don't see that product anymore. This is a good, there's two products actually. Slosh Works hair shaders. I don't know why it doesn't show up. Oh, they're both Color Works hair shaders. There we go. Those are by Slosh, and they work with any hair. So with that, you can be extremely granular to make any hair look really cool. Danny tried using it on clothing recently. I think we're already going to say goodbye to this hair because this is just too cumbersome. Sometimes just in the interest of time, you know. How many hours do you want to wait for hair to do its thing? Up to. That is a good idea. Up to. Let's do that. 53%, 55% say up to. Okay, I'm going to let Daz Studio finish so that we can at least see, you know, what's going down here. They are amazing, aren't they? Yes, I really love them as well. And the versatility, unbelievable. It almost then doesn't matter what shader the hair comes with that you're using, because I've got my favorite color combination here. And then we can blend it, and that they're universal. So it's a really good investment. See if you can find the links, Brian. The Slosh Works Extreme. There's I think two products. Curly hair updo. Let's see if I have it. If this isn't, you know, this is causing trouble, this. But I suppose it's also because it's such high geometry, and then it's being converted, and then the projection map just takes forever to calculate that. Uninstalls the product. Oh, Twisted Metals. Oh, let's have a look while Daz Studio is thinking about it. Twisted Metal. Dang. I think this is how you spell it, right? Twisted. Ah, there we go. I don't remember if I have this texture. No, I didn't. Oh, that was from Out of Touch, sorry. Let me know if you can see it here. Or also send me a link, Camilla, on the Discord. That'd be good. I'm not sure if it's here. Maybe I'm not searching it properly. Maybe I'll try without the Z, huh? I'm not. Yeah, actually, I am. Good point. I am, but I can't stop it now. It is just normalizing the weight map, so. There, that's the one, isn't it? Twisted Complete Eye Shaders. Aha. That is a really good tip. Thank you, Camilla. Camilla, in case you don't know, Camilla is a professional promo artist who makes exciting promo images for Daz products. So she knows what she's talking about. She's got a massive library of bits and pieces that make pictures look really cool. So I'm always very grateful for funky tips like that. I will check that out. Thank you so much, Camilla. I appreciate that. And since it looks like they're also shaders, so they'll work with every hair. Oh, that's kind of cool here. Get an effect like this going or like that. Yes, very cool. I'm glad. Good to hear it. Always nice to find products like that. 50%. How long do we give it until we pull the plug? And you're welcome. until we pull the plug or open another instance of Daz Studio in which we, try to keep working with the scene. Oh, I know what we can do. While this is sorting it out, let's go and make these foil balloons in Marvelous Designer. That's actually the perfect timing for that. Let's go and do that. The iconless Marvelous Designer with this cute little guy. So this is something I thought would just be, it's just fun to use things like Marvelous Designer for really simple props that we can use. And for Valentine's Day, I thought, yeah, like a heart-shaped foil balloon would be nice. And then if you duplicate that, you can get these types of effects here. So this is all the same object, and you get this little crease on the side here. And then if you have multiple, it just integrates into kind of the look and feel of the scene. You probably don't want these to be in focus, but if we throw them out of focus, it's kind of it's kind of nice to embellish that. And you can go write words out. I don't know if we have time for that, but at least we can make a little heart-shaped balloon here. While Daz Studio is thinking about it, I think I have saved before I loaded the hair. It is, right? So this here's my 3D window in Marvelous Designer. And on the other side, I make 2D patterns, and then this is where they get simulated. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. I'm going to go and start with the polygon tool and just go and create something that'll eventually resemble a heart, like so. And then while this isn't looking much like a heart just yet, we can go and curve this out a little. Like so, and like so. Well, it looks much more like half a heart at least. And then you can adjust this pointer. We could do that. I'm going to just go leave it as it is. And since we only have half a heart now, I can go and unfold that with symmetric editing. If we had sewing on this, it's kind of half a heart. That's already a good start. So now all I need is a second piece on the back that is, turned around so that the normals are facing inwards. Let's see if we can do that with, I think hello, I think that, like so. So copy and then mirror paste to about here. That's now on top of the other piece here, I think. And the gray bit is the normal, so I'm just going to go and turn that around. I'll move this close to the other piece so that there's no disasters. And then I'll go and sew these guys up, either with the free sewing or the pattern sewing tool. I think maybe just segment sewing is enough for this. So this goes onto that. Yep. I think this goes onto that. Yes. Then this here goes onto that. And then we're there. And half of the sewing just gets duplicated, which is kind of nice, and that's awesome. So now we could simulate this, but it'll probably end in disaster because it's just going to fall down to the floor. Like, yes, it was almost going to be hard. Dang. That didn't work. And that's because I think we need to set up, first of all, we need to tell Marvelous Designer that there's no gravity so that nothing gets pulled down. So let's go do that under the preferences here. I think under simulation. Whenever we see this number here, minus 9,800 Earth gravity, let's go switch that off so there's no more gravity. And then if we were to simulate this again, it would kind of linger around, but it doesn't really puff up much. It looks more like a deflated balloon now. But the cool thing is you can go and pull it around and deform it. That is kind of fascinating to do this. I always enjoy doing that. And since there's no gravity, it just keeps floating away into the distance here. Also kind of cool. So let's stop the simulation and go back to kind of here and add internal pressure to our pattern pieces. That is down here with the pattern selected under pressure. 0, that's normal cloth, but if we set this to something else, like 5 is enough, 10 is going to work, I'll say 10, then each pattern piece has pressure applied in the direction of the normals. So if I had a single piece with pressure, it would literally just go fly towards the normals and keep going forever. But because both of them have that, they'll both try to pull out, and hopefully with pressure on the inside will generate this kind of balloon hearty shaped thing. And look at that, it floats up. Don't do that. Come back here. Dang. 1,500%. And maybe this was too much. Dude, come back here. I haven't quite finished styling you yet. Yeah, so I don't think the heart shape itself is all that nice. Maybe we can give it a little bit of gravity. I think that might be good. So if minus 9.8 was correct, maybe just minus 1. Maybe that just gives it a little bit of gravity. I say gravity! Come back down here! Dude! Respect my authority! Let's try minus 9,800. Maybe that's better. Was that it? I didn't make a note. Poor thing comes crashing down. That was too much. I meant just a little bit so that it doesn't float away. You can spend forever with fiddling with these things. So maybe minus 500 will be enough. Just so that it's not, floating away. There we go. I think that'll work nicely. Now it goes and bounces. That's cute. So the points on the side I'm not that worried about, but perhaps we can go and improve this shape here by making this curve a little less steep. If we do that, make that a little flatter here. That applies it on both sides here, thanks to my handles. We make this come out a little. What does that look like? Does that look better? And while we're there, let's go and make these a little rounder. If we can. I can turn this into a curved point as well, but it'll increase the geometry of the object. Sometimes what looks good in 2D doesn't actually look great in 3D, but I think I can kind of live with this. Especially now that it becomes this slightly cushiony, pillowy type thing. Perfect, that's a heart. I think this is a nice heart. What do you think? Good heart? Let's keep it that way. And let's save our project as well, just in case we ever want to, bring it back. This is the one I've made earlier here. I'll say Heart Balloon 2, maybe. Might have misspelled it a little bit here. Let's go and do the UV mapping. Not that we absolutely have to. The UVs are probably not that important. on this guy, because we're not gonna use any real textures on it, but they should be in 0 to 1 space. They could even be at the exact same position here. They don't have a very good packing algorithm here in Marvelous Designer, but this is gonna work for us. This is gonna work for us. Let's go export this out as OBJ. It's OBJ, it's fine. I'll put this on my desktop as heart balloon v2, and we want to use all patterns. We want to weld this as thin thing with unified UV coordinates, and that should be that. Meanwhile, back in Daz Studio, it's still doing it. Dang. Yeah, that is a shame, isn't it? I think this is the point where we're going to have to pull the plug. Do we still have the log file running? Oh yeah, there we go. Morph loaded with deltas and all that. We still have the log file running. That's kind of cool to see that. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the end of this. Thanks, Daz Studio, for trying. Thank you for trying. Do you know, Danny, did you know that once Daz Studio comes back up, I can show you how to use the... let me just go and close this down here. Did you know that you could import one balloon like this into Daz Studio and then create an instance and have literally 99 of those in your scene, literally from the create menu? True story. You select one object and then you say create instances, and then you type in the number 99 and boom. Before the stream ends. Yes, exactly. Ah, you're welcome, Jeff. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. There were really, really cool things in that webinar. It's really cool. I explained, in case you haven't seen it, I've explained how to do rigging in Daz Studio, both manually with bones as well as with the so-called figure rigging tool. That's a little helper tool in Daz Studio that can infer bones from face groups, and we built all kinds of little things. We did a little chest in Blender that we could then open, like a little, treasure chest type thing, and we've even built a little character just from primitives inside of Blender that we then went and rigged from scratch as a custom figure. And then Brian made a funky bonus suggestion that why don't we try to do this in something that is compatible with Genesis 9 poses, and it worked as well. So we did all kinds of funky things. So very cool. I'm really glad to hear you say this, Jeff. That's really cool. That is nice to hear. I'm glad I could inspire you with that. Show us the results. You can always post it on any of the social media sites and at me, and then I get to see it. Let's see if I can open it again. Can I? I think it's still closing down. I think it's tight. Oh, there we go. Yeah, hey, good stuff. You can see all the plugins that I've got loaded here. This is kind of nice to see a live log in the background. Do you know, I built a little low poly anime figure recently. Maybe I can show you this. And somebody was asking, I think this was her actually. Somebody was asking, can I buy this model? I've made this by following a course by Grant Abbott in how to model your own characters from scratch in Blender. And it was really like a reference image that you put in the kind of in the front view, and one from the side in the side view, and then you start with the cube at the bottom, and then you extrude that, or I think we started at the hip actually, and you just go and extrude this whole three-dimensional figure out of it, and then you constantly swap around from front view to side view until you have that model that you want. And the last pass was to extrude the clothing here, so this kind of part of the character as well as the hair. And then the rigging was all done inside Marvelous Design, Mixamo. So very cool. Somebody was saying, "Can I buy this model?" And I thought that was quite. I was very chuffed by that. This is anime girl, and off she goes. She keeps this magic thing. Yes, I didn't. We didn't get to the mouth. We didn't get to the mouth. Is my preference would have been to use it like the either like the Sinti characters or like the ones in Lonely Mountains Downhill, where they don't even have a mouth, where they literally just have a flat face. They don't even have eyes and all that. I mean, as a first attempt, I was very pleased. Do you like the robot website? Yeah, the robot was very cool. I like the robot as well. I need to post that, actually. I don't think I've posted a picture of that. But Brian's made a little animation of it. If you can find that, Brian, post it in the chat. That was just so cool. After the stream was over, Brian took the model and animated it and put some music underneath it. That's just so cool. Do you know, maybe we'll do that. That's maybe part for another stream that we can do. I'll need to practice a little bit more, but then yeah, eventually we can just go overlay a texture and don't model it in. Building projection map. Okay, come on. We're going to end up with some kind of picture here later on. I'm sure of it. I'm really not into that product, to be honest, Daniel. So, you going on a holiday this year? I hope it hasn't saved the hair with it. Nope, it hasn't. Good stuff. Where were we? We had the hair for the guy. And I think I'm going to stick with this hair. We've got the lighting. We've got the backlighting. That's all good. Did we make a decision about the hair for Angela? 49% say updo. So I do have an updo, which we can use. And I think that is relatively simple. Curly updo. There's this one, but I have another one, which is the 3-in-1 updo, don't I? The Rose Noel updo. So they would both work, maybe. Let's try the Victoria one. That is for Genesis 9. That's the one you meant, right? Is that the one you meant? Let's try that. The other one is also nice. It's a very plain one. Let's see what the frizzy hair looks like on her. That might work. We're already there and it's already working. Hey, that was fast. That was fast. Let's see if we can find a hair color for that. The disinterested look, yes. Don't you make me a redhead, dude. Yeah, redhead with her skin complexion, that might not work well. But we have dark brown and black and also dark violet. So something like that might work really well. Let's see what dark violet adds to the party. I like the idea of maybe getting a little bit, yeah, a bit of a tint in the hair that might pose a contrast to the dress she's wearing, even though we're not quite sure if that is the dress we're going to keep. That's nice. It's also brown. Also nice. That might even look better. It's warmer. There's also dark brown. Brown versus dark brown. I'm thinking maybe that. Are we good with that? You happy with that? She's dreaming of Michael. If only Michael were here. So we're kind of almost there then. What does this look like with the cameras that I had envisioned on the portrait front here? We need to sort the dress out. This is something I don't think we can do it on this stream because this is another kind of half-hour worth of work to get that sorted out. So if we just go with the landscape shot, we don't actually see it. So that's kind of nice. And if we just try to make this, try to put some of these hearts in the background, even try to go in a little closer, perhaps. We can see how that comes out. Let's do that. Let's do that. And we can also have a look at different materials for the dress, I'm thinking. I think I like the gold. I like the gold. I just want to see what else is available, just as a, you know, as a general thing. So what's happened here is that because of D-force, the dress has kind of stretched out at the bottom more than I would have liked it. And the way to fix this would be to either not use D-force and make the dress adjustment in something like ZBrush, or you tweak the D-force weight map. So things have now, if we look at the wire shaded look, we see that something's been distorting here, and I think that's influenced the textures. I'm not entirely sure, but this would be my bet. So that is something that I would fix that way, and that's had an influence on what we see. So we don't have, we've got, like, you know, things that have been pulled apart down here as a result of D4. So it's something I think we're going to go discuss that in the next Daz Plus stream, how to tweak those types of weight maps, but not today. So other materials for the dress, just to have a quick look what else is available. Oh yeah, so gold wasn't the only thing. We've got the blue pink gradient. We've got just glitter full and glitter gradient. Maybe I'll try the glitter full. That might be something. Maybe that'll be the solution, that we just don't see the black bit being stretched out all that much. That is kind of cool. Let's try that. That would be good. Mood swinging. How you doing? Is it just the wrong material? Looking at the stretching here, I don't think so. But maybe this is just, you know, just make it all glitter and we'll see. Yeah, no, you can still see the stretching here. So that ain't so good. But it's certainly better than it was before. So this, I may be able to just tweak that with a bit of smoothing in ZBrush. I don't know. I think it's a bit too distorted for that. But, you know, since we're not showing that bit, let's not worry about it. What else can we do here? We have plain beige. I do like the gold glitter, I gotta say. Oh yeah, that also would get rid of the problem. Pink silt jacquard leaves, also interesting. Also interesting. Plain colors, we've got this here. Gold silk. Also interesting. Right guipure lace, also not bad, also interesting. But I think, you know, once you've seen the gold glitter, it's also just like a velvety type red, also not bad. It's good to have all that variety. Very nice, very nice. Simple red, that is cool. A little bit of ZBrushing, smoothing this out, pulling this out a little bit. It might work, it might work. I'm thinking still my favorite was the gold glitter. There's also something in blue here. Velvet. I don't know how it's UV mapped. You might be able to use your own shader on it as well. I gotta say, this is nice. The last one we're gonna try is the green, but I think just the glitter is just so cool. And yeah, let's ignore this bit. I can't see subdivision working here, to be really honest. It is already subdivided, so cranking this up isn't going to make a difference for the UVs. No, let's leave it for now, but we'll see if we can do it at the end. Let's go and bring in our little hearts and see if we get some depth of field effect going with the camera here. With the landscape camera. Here it is. On the camera, we're going to switch this on here. And I don't think it has to be super precise. Oops. Focal distance kind of on them, sort of here, and I might make this 16. 200, actually we're going to probably see a lot of depth of field coming out quite fast. Let me go and grab that balloon that I've made there in Marvelous Designer here. This one here, Heart Balloon version 2, and we don't really know how big it is. There it is, Heart Balloon. I'm thinking that's probably going to be somewhere in the background. Might go and use the 2 viewports here that I have, one at the top in which I can see the camera here, and this is a bit large, and then I'll go and oops, just make a few like that. So also on the ground might not be perfect, so we'll go and have this here maybe. Hey Danny, this is what I meant earlier. If you wanted to have 99 of these things, you'd go with that one object selected, you head over here to create, and you create either a node instance, that's a single one, so that's not a duplicate, that's just an instance, or you have node instances, which is multiple, and you could literally go and create 99 others now. So I think 10 for our purposes is probably a little much, so maybe 5 is enough. But if you hit create, then you'll see that you have multiple hearts now, and they all share the same material properties, but you can scale and rotate them independently. So this is the actual object here, and all these things in the folder, those are the instances, so they don't take up more memory. They all follow what the leader does. So if I make the leader blue, then they're all going to be blue, and you can go and still take them, each of them individually, and then go and put them down and maybe, you know, turn them around and all. My producer says I should read the messages. Read this. Okay, defrosting, gotcha. Yeah, we're going to deal with that later. I'm just going to set this up now. Yeah, I don't think we have time to deal with that today, but I had gathered it's a defrost issue. Turn this around like so. Grab this guy. And the cool thing is, if you ever needed like a lot of things, these instances are really funky because you can just go and make so many of them. And as long as these guys are simple objects, it's not gonna, there's not gonna be a memory overhead, you know. And since this is only 5 of them, I don't think I need to use anything like any different tool, like you know, ultra scatter. This guy, maybe have another one kind of over here. Once you have the right position, the size doesn't really matter that much. I'm just spreading them out so that they all look a little different. And if one of them needs to be bigger or smaller, you can just go and size those guys individually until you have the right spot in the viewport here. I think this was good here. This guy. Oh, we're going to turn them into more like a particle thing. Or the other side as well. We can have another one next to my man Ivan Mixture here on this side. There, maybe go turn these things around like so as well. give him a little spin the other direction. All right, so then the only thing that's missing then is the material for the hearts. Let's set that up now. So save. Also, we can give them like big smiley faces. That's also possible. Also a good idea. Save, J save. Don't spend half an hour loading a hair prop. That makes Daz Studio crash. Okay, so heart balloons are already getting nicely out of focus here. Maybe even a little too much. But of course, white isn't exactly the color we want. So let's take our main heart object, not any of the instances. You have to have the main object here, and go and grab a base color. And I suppose pink is appropriate. Maybe not such an aggressive pink. Maybe more like something like a babyish type pink. But that looks very plasticky. So if we head over here to the metallicity channel and crank that up, then it's going to become pretty much instantly like a foil balloon. Without any roughness, it's going to be like a 100% shiny object, and that sometimes reflects things that you might not want to see. Like if I go back here to a perspective view and then just go and zoom in on this guy, you see all these extremely clear reflections, and that might not be what you want to see. So if that is annoying you, and it is annoying me, I'll go over to the glossy roughness here and then go and just crank that up a little bit. So put it to 1 and the thing is completely unshiny, so that doesn't look like metal anymore. But if you just put that to kind of 0.2 or something, 0.1 or 0.2, then the shininess just gets taken off a little bit, and it still has that metallic reflexivity. Is that the word? Reflectiveness, I suppose. And then you don't see what's actually reflecting. So in some HDRIs, if you just want to use them as a light source, you probably don't want to exactly see what that is. And then we're almost there. We're almost there, and I've got 5 minutes. I've got 5 minutes left. So this is nice. I like it. I like it. So the only other thing I would probably do here is, like the Technomagia suggested, we can try to open up the spread angle from the backlight a little so that we hit more of her arm as well, and his arm. We can try that out. That may not work, but it's worth a try. Light, and then on here, I think it is just on the top thing, a spread angle. Let's make that like 120. See if that has the effect we want. No, that was too much. It might not reach, so we might be better off having a second one of these and just pointing it here if we wanted to do that. But I'll let you investigate that yourself. So then the other thing I like doing is to add a little bit of kind of almost something of an effect like the hearts here. I like adding these particles there. I'm hoping that we're eventually going to see something like live particles. That's what makes video games really come to life, when you have these dust particles that float around. I really like those. Come on, like the other way. God damn it. Like so. And since we don't have the live particles, we can have like static particles that we can add to this. And one that I always like using is the one from Matty Manx. He has one that's called Fire and Smoke Eye Ray, I think. There it is. That's the one. In that product, he has a prop that is called the Ember Large Scatter, and it's a really cool thing. You just literally just drop it in, and that has all these little particles here. There's two of them. There's one that has that's a larger one that's a smaller one. So maybe the larger one here isn't perfect. It's also something that you can move in your scene. So if this is not on the right spot, you can go and scale it down. It's like if this part here, I don't really want to see that part here, I can just go and move the whole thing. Come on, buddy. Over, and then the position of the particles kind of changes. And then you can also scale this. So if you want the particles to be in a different position, you could make the whole thing smaller. Oops, might be the parameters might be better for that. Thank you, X201. I appreciate that. Like if we make this 50%, just to see this larger here, 50% of the whole thing, then we get more particles. And if we make it larger, we kind of get less particles. It's a very versatile product, and depending on how much this particle is now in the way here. So, come on, buddy. Just move it around slightly until they're all in the correct position here. Like, that's also not awesome. Maybe we'll just go put that slightly further down. If it's like directly in the face and stuff, or like on his suit, that's probably not what we want. But small adjustments here. And then eventually we're there. Yeah, it's maybe just a bit too much here. I'll crank up the scale a bit again. So I might get about 100. Yeah, I think that's nice. So we don't have anything on the characters, but we have things here. And then if you want them more out of focus, I mean, you'll see it once you have a proper background in there as well. But like, especially if it's a slightly darker background, you can also just on the camera, just make the depth of field a little more. Like if we make this like super strong, everything gets blurred, including the particles. So 22 is the default. Kind of depends on the focal length as well. Say if I make it 16, or I make it 32, then they come out more or less. And I think that really, that really does something. I'll go leave the 22 default. I'll go save it, render it out, and just put a quick background in Photoshop, and I'll have a look at questions. And I think that's 2 hours. Doesn't it go always like incredibly fast? I had imagined if we had another hour or so, I would probably go and write the words love out here or out here. That would be nice. I might do that off the stream. Let me just go render this out, and then we'll go and see what this looks like with the background. So dimensions 1920 by 1080. That's cool. And then here we go under progressive. 1000 is probably enough for this. And I'm rendering the wrong viewport as one of those things. Dang. Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate that. It's like a variation. I'm currently rendering the wrong viewport, which is, I've only just seen that yellow line come out here. So dang, brother. That's so cold. Would making a custom hard scatter in Blender work and then importing it using the volumetrics? You can do. If you make a cloud, like a hard cloud, that might work. That might work. Isn't there also a tool? I'll just see if was it called mesh to volume, or was it volume to mesh? I forgot which mesh to volume. There we go. Mesh to volume and back. This is something else you could try out. So if I had my hard, which is an actual OBJ mesh, you could turn that into a volumetric thing, and then potentially turn this into like a purpley like a haze thing. So this is what that does. And back. So one of those Alessandro magic things. I haven't actually looked into it, but it does work. So it's a very interesting little tool. So maybe this is something else we could look into and see what happens if you turn this heart into a volume and then render it as that. That's possible. Computer is not happy today. Dang. And also I've left the iRay viewport on. I probably shouldn't have done that. Yes, retrieving geometry, yes. But it's the wrong viewport. So cancel. Don't do that. Dang. It's so much fun, isn't it? Also, the thing is, it just never ends. That's the other thing. You could literally, this is how my days often go. You think, oh, I'm just going to quickly try something. 7 hours later, oh, it didn't work. But, oh, where did the time go? It's just what happens, isn't it? You're very welcome, Jeff. That's what I'm here for. PBS, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I'm going to quickly show you how to put a little, what it looks like with the background. I just like to see it, you know. And it shouldn't really take all that long to render. But we'll be here for that. So yes, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to try to do a stream about adjusting weight maps for both bones as well as for deforce. It's really nice. I might do this with Fugazi. I think it's something that he was suggesting. So, you know, it's kind of a good idea to do this. He has a really cool YouTube channel. If you want to know more about Marvelous Designer and how to get the most out of it, have a look at his YouTube channel, Fugazi. He's called 3D Megaverse on YouTube, and he has a huge series both on Substance Painter as well as Marvelous Designer. So very, very nice. So sorry, I don't really know why this is taking forever, but I'm determined to see this through. Thank you, Brian. Exactly. Yes, there's while Daz Studio is thinking about it. Let's have a look. 3D Megaverse. Oh, there we go. That's a good stream here. We should watch that. 3D Megaverse. And I've been meaning to watch so many of his excellent presentations. Some of them I have done, but many of them I have not. And especially the ones about Marvelous Designer and Substance Painter. There we go, new baking tools in Substance Painter. He's got things all over the place. Marvelous Designer, this is a good series here. Daz Studio is of course one. Prop creation, Marvelous Designer workout suit. That's another one. And the one about Substance Painter tutorials, this one here, that's the other one that I thoroughly recommend. Yeah, you can learn a ton of stuff from him, and he's just so nice and chilled out. It's always good to have him on the show. Yeah, workout trousers, leggings, and then Substance. Massive question marks I have about that application, and he knows so much about it. So yes, drop my man a follow. Oh, there we go. We can see something. It's coming together. Yeah, I like it. And then once we have the background, we're gonna be just golden. We're here for as long as it takes. That's the spirit. I like it. I started playing, thanks to WebSource suggestion actually, I've started playing a game called Life is Strange, True Colors. And I'm going to continue doing that tomorrow afternoon from 5 p.m. on my channel, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Who stole the background? Who did steal the background? So yes, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Unreal Engine game. Very, very nicely done. It's mainly like a, I'll call this one Stream Render V1. It's essentially like a cinematic that you watch, and it's just absolutely beautiful the way they've done it, all live animations. And this is it here, stream render. Just going to open that up. So all I would really do here is start with the solid color. Let's start with black and see how that goes. Well, this shows up all the little particles here. And then I'd go and add a solid color that would pick the background. We can pick something from here, something like that. It's okay if it's a bit too strong. We can always amend that later, either by blending in the opacity here. That's kind of nice to just get a feel for what would you like the background to look like. Maybe the saturation is a bit too strong, so you can go and make that like darker, less saturated. I think something that really pops. That's kind of nice. And then also to get a bit of variation into the background, I like adding just a plain layer here and then adding something like a gradient. That always works like this. And even if that is a bit too strong, doesn't matter. We just go blend in the opacity until we're happy with it. And if you find that the depth of field could do with changing, or you'd like the hearts to be blurred out a little bit more, you can always go and do that inside Photoshop as well. If you wanted to like make a duplicate of the layer, you could go and turn this into a smart object and go add a little bit of Gaussian blur here. That might be a bit too much, but like, you know, just 5 or maybe 10. Let's not worry about the people here, but this would be nice. If this is underneath it and you're going to put this layer on top, you have this kind of, you know, dreamy blur that you can now go and increase or decrease if you wanted to do that. We'll mix it together with the top layer, and then it gets this whole, you know, dreamy look. I don't know how well that comes out on the stream. Whoops. But yeah, if you're into dreamy images, that's an interesting way to do that. And then you can always fiddle with masks as well to make that like this was the original. And now it's got this dreamy look there, as much or as little as you want, of course. So tons of fun to be had in post-production still. So yes, the work just never stops. Hey, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that, guys. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time on the Daz Plus channel, on the YouTube channel, but with the Daz Plus stream. And I'm also going to be back tomorrow on my own channel, where we're going to have another look, and hopefully maybe finish the game over the next few days about the excellent Life is Strange True Colors. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful weekend. I hope I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.